So the angel was singing over the person's head.
Yeah. That's actually what I sensed that. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Hi.
When Alisha spoke earlier and she said, let go of everything that isn't love, I really felt that as an experience. How do we maintain that as a state of being? Because fear and anxiety and worries still appear.
Well, they appear in our consciousness, in our waking consciousness, but it is less than who we are. So, there's a saying that I use a lot. It's a saying that I heard from John Roger. Let go, let God. And the root of our suffering is really an attachment. So people think, well, you mean so I suffer because I'm attached to my car, or my cat, or my husband? You can, but what we're really attached to more than anything else is this orientation in time and space of ourself as the center of the universe. We get attached to the story around us, and when the experience of life bumps up against it and doesn't cooperate with the way we think it should go, that's where our suffering comes into play, and that's where the reactivity inside of us produces that suffering that you're talking about. And so the letting go and just letting it go is really the root of that, and the way it can become a more complete experience and a more regular experience for you is to get beyond and get outside the story of yourself, the story of the drama that you're enacting and that you call your life. Because from the spiritual vantage point, that's not your life at all. That's just the movie you're watching. That's just the show you flipped onto. And you can change the channel. But the problem is a lot of us just flip from one story to the next and change the channel, but we're not getting outside of it to realize that we're caught in this serial process of, one adventure, one show, another show. And from a higher perspective, that sometimes looks like somebody's lifeline of their past lives and stuff. But even in the lesser sense, it's the story of our days and the story of the different chapters of our living. So we grow from all of that and we gain from the experience of it, but we suffer because of the attachment, where we get caught into that I belong to this story and this story belongs to me, and we're one and the same. And freedom comes from disconnecting from that and recognizing, no, there's a story, and I may still play within the story because it serves the functionality of this human experience. But I'm not this story. I exist beyond this story. I can utilize this story as a tool to allow me to participate in this level, but I'm not the captive of it. And therefore, I don't have to be captivated by the natural reactivity that part of my consciousness that is oriented to the story is going to have. It's going to be, oh no, oh yes, yay, boo. All the reactions that we have come about because we're making it so serious.
Yes, right now I have an opening as a mother because one of my sons is having a health challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sure, but that's just another phase that, the more we're personally drawn in, the harder it is for us to have the altitude in the story. The more we're attached because we're aligned. And the funny thing is we have to have a level of attachment to be here. So we're not going to have complete detachment, but the more we can operate in that unattached place, the more we're going to have the perspective. The more we're able to see it as God sees it, see it as the Spirit sees it. I remember one of the early things that really worked for me was an idea that I was given, and actually it was from John Rogers. It says, look at it through the eyes of the Master. How would Jesus see this? And that was really eye-opening for me, because when I'd start to try that, I found, wow, there's this freedom of emotional involvement that I didn't have before. So I'm just looking at it like from a distance. Remember that song they had, From a Distance, and you're talking about how the earth looks? Well, that principle works for us in dealing with the experiences of our lives, and the way that those experiences can sort of suck us in, and then we're constantly in this turbulence. So we get above it.
And when fear comes in, the same thing would
Sure.
apply?
Sure. If you're talking about something maybe happening with your son, and yet if you flip to look at it as from the spiritual vantage point, we realize, well, he's God's child. There's nothing that could really happen to him that isn't going to be perfect in the end, because God's got him and God's going to work with him. And even if he makes a mistake or something that I would look at as catastrophic happens, it'll be for his learning and growth.
Okay, I have that mentally. Is there somewhere that isn't resonating?
In what you call the basic self. In
Okay,
that body, that child part of yourself, it's still holding on.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to help you a little bit with that, because it gets a little bit more into the personal
I'm
thing of
getting-
yours. Yeah, because you're going to feel the emotion, because the Spirit's tapped into that part of the basic self. So there's a memory of another lifetime with your son. In that lifetime, your son was your brother. And your brother was conscripted into an army. And you realized that being forced to march off into that battle was a death sentence. And you had to sit by and watch that go on, and the helplessness of it, and see it play out, and the powerless feeling of that, and the anguish in there, that there must be something we can do. We must be able to stop this, because they're marching off to their death, and you saw the whole thing and you were powerless. And what got embedded in the psyche, in your being, is that sense of powerless, that I can't do anything. Well, there's always one thing we can do, and that's what we call pray or send the light. But we can always reach out and ask assistance from that higher perspective and that higher power, because blessings can be extended in that way, because our prayers are heard. They're answered, not always to our liking, and not always to the fullness that we would like, but they are answered according to what can be done, according to the highest good. But ask that for him. And let that memory go out of you, because that was another time and place, and it was his time and his place to go off to battle and die in battle.
Something's happening around my heart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's letting that go.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Oh, did you have something? Good.
Thank you.
I'm proud.
It's interesting because when Michael said an angel was coming in to help choose, I saw that angel sing over your head. And what I heard as Michael was sharing with you is that you have two angels singing to you. One is Lucifer, who was, of course, the first angel. And Lucifer is singing a song that would sound like a dirge, or it's a song of trudgery, and a song that would lead you to believe that the path to your awakening is long and arduous. It would sound cacophonous, slow and deep. But on the other side is an angel of the Lord singing to you. And that song sounds like what laughter would sound like were it music. It's whimsical, it's light, it's free, it's saying, beloved, don't you understand what is so funny is that you're already home. You're already awakened. You're already who you've been seeking. And so, as they say, choose you this day whom you serve. Choose you which song you listen to. Because you see, Lucifer won't necessarily shut up because we tell him to. So what we can do is ignore him. We have two boys, and we're always telling one.
We have two boys.
So you know, if one is taunting the other, the best way to make the one stop taunting is if the other one ignores them. Because if they don't get a rise, they're going to stop doing it. Lucifer is like a big kid in that way. It can be a little more convincing, a little more scary, but nonetheless, if you focus up higher, if you focus into the light, then that song will recede into the background until you won't hear it because you'll be so focused on the song of the angels. And that angel that is singing to you is an angel that you have a very positive history with. I call it the angel of the Lord. There's an angelic name for it. Is it okay? I'm not going to say it out loud now, but what this angel does is it brings the Lord, as Micah was talking about, and the absolute Lord, its function is to step it down that we can be aware of it. It manifests the unmanifest. It brings the Lord, the experience of the Lord, into our access. So that one is singing to you always. Listen to that song.
Thank you so much.